And we are live. We are live. And we are live. Welcome everyone to our Faith Talk Tuesday, our Encouragement Tuesday. And we are live. We are
Sorry.
Really appreciate for everyone to tune in as we get ready for this great conversation on this day. Asking for everyone to hit that like button, to hit that share button as we get ready for this great conversation on today. I have a very special guest. I have my bishop, Bishop Dora Scott, and I have His Grace, Bishop Greg Davis, who's with us on today. We're going to go ahead and begin with prayer. Then after that, we're going to continue with our dialogue on today as we get ready for this great conversation piece on today. Heavenly Father, God, we thank you on today for another chance, another opportunity. Lord, we ask you that you continue to have your angels around us to protect us as we get ready for this encounter, oh God, as we get ready for this conversation. Lord, we ask you right now, oh God, that you bless everyone who is being connected, who's watching. Lord, let they get something encouraging, push them through for the rest of the week as we get ready for this upcoming Sunday, oh God. Get ready for the new day that you're about to bless us with a new day of grace and mercy. Lord, we thank you, oh God, for everything that we have faced on today. Lord, we thank you for every blessing, for every covering, everything that you have done for us, oh God, seen and unseen. Lord, we ask you that you continue to go forth like never before in this time. In Jesus' name, amen. At this time, I got a very special guest that is with us, and I'm asking for everyone to go ahead and send forth those claps in the comments and send forth those claps and go ahead like on today. Bishop, can you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us about yourself, things that you already have done? If you don't know who he is, I need you to go on the Word Network. But anyway, go ahead.
Bishop Greg Davis, grew up in Detroit, raised in New York part of my life, grew up in Detroit, right here on the east side of Detroit. My grandparents pastored the Welcome Baptist Church. That's where I grew up at. I pastored here, Second Unity, Full Gospel Baptist Church back in the day. Now pastor Celebration Church of Detroit. Been back in Detroit for about 10 years. Host of a host at the Word Network. And also one of the founding fathers of Full Gospel Baptist Church Fellowship. I serve now, after many titles, as the Bishop of Media in Full Gospel. And I pastor an amazing people called Celebration Church of Detroit, and television radio host. That's who I am. And a wonderful movement that we got going called Young Preachers, the Movement.
Hey, yes, Young Preachers, the movement. Yes, this is the one and only. He has gathered the next generation of preachers. Started up from last year. It was a phenomenal show, a phenomenal conversation. If you did not see it, I'm guarantee you can go find it on Facebook. You can find it on YouTube easily. Go on to Young Preachers, look that up on YouTube, and I guarantee you will find that conversational piece that we had. But the overflow, I remember that because we delved a little bit deeper after the, and that was some great conversational piece that we had, something that was not shared. But if you was there, you know what you got. You got your nuggets, and it was something that was really appreciated. So I want to first thank you and salute you for even just establishing that platform for the next generation, the up and comers. I really appreciate you and salute you for that. But I would like to go ahead and get started with our conversation piece on today. I just talk about a few things. You are what you say, what they call you. What's the nickname you gave you? The Bishop of Media. And I see that how that you became a pioneer, the one that wanted to be the bridge between the older generation and the new generation. What did God tell you and led to you to do that, especially in a time like this?
Well, first of all, thank you for allowing me to be here, and to your bishop, Bishop Dora. Today, we honor her. To be honest with you, this coming October, I'll be preaching 35 years. I was thinking about it yesterday, and right around my 29th year, um, I start texting, not texting, but tweeting um, about things that was on my heart for young preachers, because I believe anything that you do more than 20, 25 years, it's time to give back. And so right before my 30th anniversary of preaching, I start tweeting. That's Twitter was a little more popular then, which it still is, but not as much. Facebook and Instagram was going forth. So I start tweeting, young preacher this, young preacher that. And I just was giving back to them, not knowing what it would be today. And when I tried to stop it, everybody was like, no, keep doing it, keep doing it. And so when I got back to Word Network about 4 years ago, I had left for a few years. And I came back and I told Dave Sheffield, I said, I want to do a young preacher show. And I waited a couple of years to get back acclimated. And we did it. It's 2 years now, almost 2 years. And it's turned into a movement. We sent out a text every day to almost 1,500 young preachers every day. We sent out a text to almost 1,500 young preachers just to encourage them. And we have an IG page, a Facebook page where we display other ministers. And now, even during this COVID piece, we're having a discussion every week now for 8 weeks with young prophets
Yeah.
on Sunday nights at 9 p.m. It's become a regular thing. And then we're talking to, watch this, single preachers, single male preachers, to get their perspective. Men don't talk that much.
No, no.
So young preacher movement has now blossomed into just more than um, actually, before COVID, we had already discussed, me and some of those that helped me, to do a conference next year. But of course, conferences are kind of on back burner for right now. So now we've taken it to social media, and literally, I was looking at the numbers. Almost 20,000 watched the young single pastors, and thousands have watched the prophets every week. We've been doing the prophets about 8-9 weeks now. And so yeah, that's what young preacher is. And then I allow um, Pastor Erica, who's out of Baton Rouge, she has a women's one-on-one on our IG, talking to various women preachers, and that has become very popular. So that's kind of where I'm at right now, giving back.
Mhm.
I think it's important for us that have been around for a while. I'm only 58. I mean, that's not old.
No, no, you're young. You're still young.
I consider myself young. I just been around. Next year, I'll celebrate 50 years of being in church.
Ooh.
I started in church when I was 9. Bishop, no, I've been around here a long time. And so I just think that we have to start thinking about leaving a legacy. Uh, it's the worst thing in the world. Miles Monroe, began to talk about leaving empty. And the greatest wealth in the world is the cemetery, because so many people die with their potential on the inside of them. And I just refuse. From whence I came from, my mother was a call girl. My daddy was a R&B singer, my stepfather R&B singer. And so I want to leave something so that people know it's bad when you've lived and nobody never knew you lived.
Yeah, yeah, I totally agree. Now you said 50 years. Bishop, you almost there, ain't you, Bishop Scott? You almost there, 50 years.
She's
Hey,
on mute.
Bishop, unmute yourself, Bishop. Nope.
Yes, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Bishop. Can't hear you. Nope. There you go.
Hello, can you hear me now?
There you
That's
go.
it.
Okay, very, very good. What I wanted to say was to Bishop Davis, he has an extremely long history in the city of Detroit. And I would love for Bishop to, when he talks about leaving a legacy of what his past has been, through the city of Detroit. I'd love for him to talk a little bit about his grandfather, Bishop Pastor Ananias Davis, who was a well-known, long-running pastor in the city of Detroit. His history with Gospel Music Workshop of America, bringing in some of the greatest artists that we've ever seen in the city of Detroit, right there on East Grand Boulevard in Gratiot. Bishop, please share, because I know Elder Carlton does not know that history. He's a youngster. And he doesn't know about that level of investment that you've come across, and now that you've been so willing to give back. Please share with us, Bishop.
So, you know, I before this conversation is over with, I would have quoted him, trust me, at least 3 or 4 times. Reverend Dr. Ananias Davis. At 9 years old, my father showed up to New York and told my mother he needs to go to Detroit with my parents or he's going to die in the streets of New York. And I went kicking and screaming, only to show up on Mack and French Road to the home of Reverend Ananias Davis. First Lady Davis. Had never heard no preacher in my life other than Reverend Ike in New York on Sunday mornings. And my life was changed because of my grandfather. We were on Canfield and Herbert then. And then my grandfather was a pioneer in this city because in the 70s, we moved to Mack and Phillip, which is 2 blocks from Grosse Pointe. We bought the Parkside Baptist Church, which was a white church in the 70s. Ooh. In 73, 74, my grandfather was a pioneer. Everybody was paying dues. My grandfather taught tithing. My grandfather taught me how to live right. Even though he was a Baptist preacher, he lived holy. If my grandfather had a girlfriend, she had to be on the other side of the world because he was always with my grandmother. And those 2 people changed my life. I was raised by them. And he was respected by every preacher just about in this city because he pastored forever. He died at 92 years old in a circle praying. Now, my grandfather built a church at 88, 89 years old on the corner of Mack and Phillip. He told an old building. It was a large building, but he wanted a new church. He wanted a new building. And at 88, 89 years old, he built a building. Lucille Lemon, the only person that my grandfather trusted other than Hattie B. Humphrey. Those 2 women, my grandfather would let pick me up. I'd go to the musicals. Everything, and I honor Hattie Humphrey today, everything that I know about emceeing a program, anything about a musical, it was Hattie B. Humphrey that would pick me up in her car and say, come on here, boy. And I'd get in that car at 16 years old. All right. Then came Lucille Lemon, saw me directing the choir because I invited Lucille Lemon. I was inviting everybody to my grandfather's church, the Craig brothers, everybody. Norma Jean, in the 70s, she got her first plaque for emceeing our homecoming. And Lucille Lemon saw me direct. And she went to my grandfather and asked, can I have him? Can you let him come? I will make sure I keep the vultures. And Dora's know what I'm speaking about right now.
Yes, sir.
I'll keep the vultures off him. It was Lucille Lemon that introduced me to the GMWA, the Gospel Music Workshop of America. Watch this. In 1977.
Wow.
And I've been a part of that organization ever since. I think it's 45 years I've been a part of that organization, and I still go because you never forget about where you come from. Lucille Lemon took me across this country directing the choir. I never forget. I had gotten shot in 1981, just standing on the corner of Mack Avenue. Bullet went in my hand. They had to put a cast on. Her hip was broke. My arm was in cast, and she was directing with a bad hip. I was directing with a bad hand, and I traveled all over this country. Fast forward, the Lord called me to preach. I started preaching at Craig Memorial, the Craig brothers. My grandfather said, you can preach your first sermon there, but I'm going to license you, I'm going to ordain you, and I'm going to send you out when you get ready to pastor. So I preached my first sermon over there on 7 Mile and Myers. You remember that, Bishop?
Yes, sir. Yes,
Probably
sir.
it'll be 35 years in October. And I honored the
Wow.
Craig brothers. I traveled the country. I couldn't sing a lick, but they put me in their group. And I traveled this country with the Craig brothers. I honored, I got my calling, preached my first sermon with them. And then I went back to I got called to Second Unity Baptist Church, changed the name,
That's
called
right.
it Second Unity Full Gospel Baptist Church. We were on Moffett in Pennsylvania. It only seated 50, 60 people. In 6 months, we moved to the Boulevard in Gratiot. And what changed my life is when I invited Bishop Paul Morton to come, and I became a part of Full Gospel and known as one of the founding fathers now of Full Gospel. But on that corner, even Pastor Solomon Kenlock, my pastor here in Detroit, he tells me, he said, I was a young man in New Bethel, and I'd hear about Mac and Gratiot and the Boulevard. Everybody from John P. Key
That's right.
to Jackie McCullough, I own a lock. Anybody you can think of, Noel Jones, Marvin Winans, everybody, Keith Butler, Andrew Mayer, everybody preached for me over on that corner. Every musical, John P. Key rented our gym out every time he would come in town. Those were the days. Thank you for even remembering that, Bishop.
Yes.
Yeah, he wouldn't know nothing about that.
Now,
Absolutely. No. He's a youngster. He wouldn't know.
He's
but I wanted you to share that. I wanted you to share that so that young men as himself and others that are watching would understand that what you're pouring into them is a wealth of knowledge and experience that they would never get in a classroom, a seminary, a Bible college. And even during those times, they weren't paying people like they're paying them now. So they were doing it really to the glory and the honor of God. And Bishop, you didn't talk about that portion of your radio history here, right there on East Jefferson. So when they call you the Bishop of Media, you have had a long history. And I just want people to hear and understand that you were not an overnight success.
Oh, no.
That it was a long journey, that you paid your dues.
Yes, ma'am.
And now where you are, for those that are serving you, it is so well deserving because you've worked in so many other vineyards. Tell them a little bit about that radio time coming to Detroit, because we didn't have gospel radio like that.
The first gospel radio station was WMKM. Mike Gallagher was the owner. And I'll never forget, I can't think of the other guy's name. I see his face. That was also, he was the first announcer, but I was the second announcer that was hired at MKM. I did the 10 to 2 shift. And sometime I did I started off at the 2 to 6 in the morning shift. And then I went to the 10 to 2 shift. I sold airtime by day, and I played music in the evenings and put everybody's tapes on and broadcast and everything. That was the start. It was our first gospel station, 1440 AM 1440 WMKM. And I did that for 2 or 3 years. So yeah, I was one of the first gospel. Now, we had Reverend Grant, who was at WGPR on Sunday nights, but we didn't have nothing every day. We had Senator Briscoe Bryant and Dora's, I can't think of her name, but those are the pioneers of gospel music that went on to be with the Lord now. But Reverend Grant was the hottest radio show late night on Sunday evenings. I want to mention Reverend Charles Nix. It was me running down to St. James. Here was the lineup on Sunday nights: St. James, Neapolitan, and Reverend Boyd's. That, I would steal all the young people from my grandfather's church. We get in the car and we church hop. And so we go to Reverend Charles Nix's St. James, and there was nothing like it. Sunday nights was the hottest thing. Bishop Eric Mitchell kind of had picked up that mantle now for Sunday nights, but this is when everybody was having Sunday nights. So I modeled Second Unity after that. You would come by on Sunday nights at Second Unity, and we would be dancing and shouting, laying hands, prophesying. And So those were the good old days. No, I didn't just start in media when TCT called me or the Word Network. I've been doing this. Oh my God, you talking about 28 years that I've been doing radio. And believe it or not, Bishop, young man, what I love the most is not TV. I love radio the most.
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Wow.
That is my
Wow.
dream to end my career doing a syndicated radio show all over the country. I love radio
Wow.
because you can touch people, you can talk to them. You're right there in their homes. TV is great. I've had a good run. I've been on television now for almost 14 years. Nobody does that consistently. So God has been good to me. I've been on every major network, whether I was hosting or preaching. I've been on TBN. I've been on Daystar. Of course, I started at TCT. Word Network was the longest, and I helped start Impact. I left Word for about 3 years and helped start at Impact. And it's hard to believe that is Impact is 10 years old now. So I honor
Wow.
Bishop Wayne T. Jackson and all those that, yeah. I've had a good year.
Yeah. You had a good run.
Yeah,
And
Daryl Mason, whoever you are, I just said Apostle Wayne T. Jackson. Don't,
yeah,
I
you just
don't let nobody out. Somebody say he also worked with Apostle Jackson. I just said that. I honor Apostle Jackson. You don't see, here's my thing, Bishop Dora. You don't have to fall out with people when you walk away. Nobody will
That's true.
ever say that Greg Davis left wrong. I'm not going to leave wrong. Everybody is not forever, but if there's a young person that's watching this or going to rewatch this, don't ever leave wrong. Leave right, just in case. And what we do, we burn bridges. We look back and then we set the thing that brought us over on fire. And if you set what brought you over on fire, you never can cross back over. Every now and then you might have to cross back over.
Yeah.
I didn't leave. When I left Word Network, I wouldn't even be back if I had left wrong. When I left Word Network, I left because I saw what Bishop Jackson was doing and I wanted to be a part of starting something from scratch. But I didn't leave wrong. I left right. So leave right so that you can go back. And I've been back at Word Network almost 5 years now.
And you know, it's funny that you mentioned that because we first salute you for being, you know, yes, you are the bishop of media. Yes, you are. You truly are. And I really want to salute you, give you your roses now. And I agree what my bishop has said. But so we have a saying, everything that you sow on the ground and all the work you put in, you deserve that and more. All the work that you put in. And I salute you, Bishop, for all that you have done and all what you're doing right now. Hoping you start that podcast because I see what you're going with that. I see where you're going. You like to pour.
I do have a podcast, but it's mainly my preaching and stuff. But I just hang in there.
All right. I see where you're going. Now I see what you mentioned. One of the things that I noticed today, especially with my group, millennials and everything. We like just using the professional sector about this. We like to start a career and then we leave or quit or we don't give a notice or leave on bad terms and then go somewhere else and then leave and start bad terms. And you talked about how never burning bridges. Now, you just suggested to all preachers to let young preachers know that, hey, do not burn bridges. You don't know when you got to come back to that bridge or come back to that juncture. What else would you say or suggest to young preachers as far as developing communication skills and how to deal with situations with leaders or anything pertaining dealing with arts or anything dealing with their leaders?
So I started the dialogue because I felt that there was a communication breakdown between the generations. I felt like that we don't listen. Okay, so here's what we say. We say that y'all don't listen to us. Okay, and y'all say that we don't listen to y'all. Well, somebody got to start talking. And so I opened the dialogue on for young preachers so that we could listen to your generation. I say this all the time, and my two co-laborers, YPJ and Pastor Jathan, they always say, don't say that, Bishop. But I really didn't start Young Preachers to solve anything, no more than just a dialogue. And I've had a lot of the older preachers say, you know, if nothing else, I may not agree with them, the next generation, on a lot of things they say, but at least you've helped us to see how they think. So I always included like a 1 minute or 2 minute vignette of Bishop Ivy Hilliard or Bishop Paul Morton, Bishop Jakes during my shows to kind of say, dear young preacher so-and-so. Even we went as far as to having the women, because Bishop will tell you, I've been an advocate. I was married to one for 20 years. I've been an advocate for the woman preacher. Even when my grandfather would say, no, I'd slip him in and have Norma Jean Pender come and MC the music or something, and she'd get her little preaching in, you know, or Hattie Humphrey or Bishop Bond. And so at the end of the day, I think it's about listening to one another. And that's what I think the issue is. There is a gap. And let me say what I found out. This is a little secret, and don't tell nobody, okay? Here's the secret. If we listen to y'all will listen to us. So every now and then, I get in my little opinion of what I think, not beating them for their opinion, but more so saying, yeah, you know, when I was, you know, boom, 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 because I think we have to be wise about the way we communicate. And so every now and then I put in my little 2 cents, you know, on the program, but not too much, because we can't ask y'all to talk and then do all the talking.
Yeah.
Communication is a two-way. I tell people all the time, let me give a nugget here. When you interview somebody, it's a conversation. So there's no need to be nervous. So just like we talking now,
yeah,
we just having conversation. It's not really a formal nothing. You know, like Bishop just did. She just said to me, I want you to talk about this. And I remember your grandfather. Oh, that just sparked something in me, because we having conversation. And that's what the generations need to do. And just what y'all doing. I honor you for having your bishop on here with me, because that is the key for the next generation, that y'all honor the last generation. I hear a lot of people saying, and you didn't ask me all this, but I'm going to say this, and Bishop will understand what I'm saying. I hear everybody saying, because we've lost some preachers to COVID, or we've lost some preachers, you know, during this time. I hear everybody saying, the changing of the guard. I don't agree with that. You know why? Why can't we coexist?
right.
Why can't we coexist? We need y'all for your youth and your strength, and y'all need us for our wisdom. Why can't we just all get along?
Yeah.
Why can't everybody? God is not going to kill off a whole generation, because then there'll be nothing to go back and reference to. It don't have to just be one or the other. I don't agree with that. There's a complete changing of the God. No, it's not. There is some people made bad decisions. You know, some people made bad decisions. They had events that they shouldn't have had at the time. And I mean, some stuff is premature. And so that's just my opinion.
Right.
But why can't we all just get along?
Yeah, I totally agree. That's one thing that I admire about my bishop. She always wants to learn, and that's one thing that I say the previous generation, not all, they just don't want to learn and just adapt and grow from it, because I feel like every day is a growing experience, and I believe in order for me to go where I want to go, I need her. I need her spiritual wisdom. I need her to show me, tell me what to do, wait, or pull me to the side. Hey, you need to do this a little bit more, or you need to say this, or this is how you change this in your sermon. I need that, because I believe in order for me to get where I want to go, as far as being a leader, I got to honor my leader, and I got to gain everything that I can from her.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I really
Well,
appreciate.
Elder Carlton, can I interject here, please, sir? I wanted to say that I likewise with you, I'm learning from you. technology, how things are changing, how the market is changing, that some of my thinking was antiquated, but that's what I knew. But I had to admit, hey, this is antiquated. This is not going to take people to the next level. So I've got to change. Okay, I've got to fall back on some stuff and say, Elder, you do that. You can handle that and be okay with it. I would love for Bishop Davis to share with us, with this long history that you've had in church, with your extensive media background, where do you see the church going? We're in the middle of this pandemic. None of us have had a rule book as to how to navigate through pandemic times. We're looking at millennials who are, everything is tech savvy now, so they don't have to come to church as we were raised. So where are we going, and how do we navigate from where we've been to where we are to where we're trying to go?
So I think we're here. I don't think and I'm just saying the way what I've been saying. I don't think it's an either or. I don't think we do social media, Zooms, Facebook Lives, StreamYard, all these platforms. I don't think it's just that, but I don't think it's just behind the doors. I think it's both and. There are people that ain't coming back to church. I don't care if you open tomorrow. I don't care if you open 3 months from now. They ain't coming. I don't care if you open next year in the spring. They ain't coming yet. I don't care if we get a vaccine. Everybody talking about, oh, once we get a vaccine. No, because some folk ain't gonna want to be the first ones to stand in line. Okay? And so if you don't know how to do all this, Pastor Jamal Bryant said to me, he said, we are ahead of the curve because we already do TV. We already know. I mean, right now, I got 4 lights in front of me. I got a TV camera. I got a audio mixer. I got a satellite box that goes straight to the Word Network. I've been in my house right here on this couch for 21 weeks doing my 1 o'clock show for 21 weeks, 5 days a week. I have a Saturday show too, but I've been letting other people do it because I just need to breathe and take a break. I tape my sermon at Craig Mizell. That's one of my sons that plays for the Word Network. I go to his studio and tape my sermon every week. I taped 2 sermons yesterday, one for my church and one for my 2 churches in Delaware where Pastor Kim pastors, because she's taking a break, so she wanted me to preach there. I do 4 or 5 lives. I'm on other people's shows like this. I'm more booked now, Bishop, than I was before. I ain't getting on no plane. I preached in Dubai. I preached in the UK. I'm talking about since March, right here. And I'm talking about honorariums. I'm talking about, and didn't have to get on a plane. Okay?
Wow.
Because I believe that there is not by chance that this pandemic started on Passover. God may not have did it, but he allowed it. And so God told me when it first started, the first thing I said to the people on TV, stay behind the bloody door.
Yeah.
Make sure that the blood is on your door. And so at the end of the day, I think that it's not either or. Church is not going to look like it once did. God brought the church to the house.
Yeah.
He brought the church to the house. We would pick God up at the building and we'd leave him right there. But now he says, I want to come in your house. I want to do like when David brought the ark of the covenant inside Obed-Edom's house. And the Bible said, as long as it was there, the Lord blessed his house.
Wow. Woo.
Yeah. And God said, I want to bring the glory in your house. I want to go back to the original intent of the reason why I told Adam and Eve, y'all can have all of this. All I want is to come hang out with you in the cool of the evening and worship with you. We'd have so much going on in our houses, and we go to church as a refuge. Now God said, I'm going to make you face
Yes.
the person you living with that you really don't like. I'm going to make you face your wife and your husband, and y'all either have to work it out or do something else. I'm going to make you face, Greg Davis, that you're a single preacher man and you need to get it right and do something. I'll make you face. So now we have to face. You got to spend time with your kids. You got to now, you didn't want to get involved with parent-teacher conference. Now you teaching them at home.
Yeah.
People now are talking to people that they ain't never talked to. Husbands would come home in the evening. Hey, honey, kiss them. They have dinner. Hey, how was your day? Boom, boom, boom. Taking my shower. We're going to bed. Only really spend time with each other on the weekends and barely did that. So now God is saying, I want you to spend time with each other and I want you to spend time with me. So now y'all all sit in front of the TV and watch YouTube, your church on YouTube, and do it like it's supposed to be done. So that's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I don't, to answer your question, it's not either or. It's both and now.
But that's good. And I think that it helps those that are in leadership, pastors, and even family individuals. Now it is no longer a separation. Now people don't have to say, well, I would go, but, I really don't fit, or I felt the preacher was preaching to me, or I didn't have the right thing to wear. Now you have none of those barriers. I want to ask this. You talked about the group that is not coming back. What do we do, or do we do anything with the group that's not coming back? Do we go after them?
You're doing
do
it right
we
here.
Accept it?
You're doing it right here. Let me tell you what has become important now. Production. Mm-hmm. You better, while y'all getting all this SBA money and all, I'm talking to everybody getting SBA money and getting all these loans and all this stuff, you better buy some cameras. Mm-hmm. You better get somebody that knows how to operate the cameras and also do live stream. Yeah. And let me say this, you better get a word, because now, let me tell you now, they ain't walking out of your church. They're now walking out of your screen and going to somebody else that's saying something. So you can't just keep saying these same cliches. Right. The preacher has to study now, because when they don't want to listen to you, all they do is click it up. Not, we used to watch people walk out. Now we watching numbers go down. Yeah. Y'all ain't saying nothing. I hear you. You better have a word and not just a touch your neighbor, because we ain't touching neighbors right now. No. And it's okay. I love that church. I love the shout and all that stuff, but we're in a different place. That word, oh Lord, have I hidden in my heart that I might not sin against thee. So you go after them, Bishop, but you go after them where they are. You now have cyber membership. And I know you old school. Yeah, I'm old school too. I know what the Bible says. Don't forsake yourself from the assembling of one another. I get it. But when they made that, there was no social media. There was no internet. There was no Wi-Fi. Mm. So ain't we assembled right now?
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Huh? We assembled right now. We take scriptures and we bend them and we twist them to fit our thing. Let's just admit something that me and Bishop Trotter said years ago. Bishop Trotter said to me, he said, Davis, you like your blue jeans and you like your sport coats and all that stuff. I like my robes and high church and my altar and all that. And he said, you know what? That's all right. He said, it ain't biblical. That's just our stuff. We all got our stuff. Mm-hmm. And do we miss church as much as we miss our stuff? Right. It's okay if you miss your stuff. It's It's okay to miss your stuff, but don't use that for a reason to want to. I'm just not ready to play with people's lives. You got 4,000 people in Seoul, Korea that went to church, and 300 of them right now have tested positive, and they're looking to test the whole church. We're in a different place, and we have to be responsible. The shepherd protects the flock from impending danger. Did you know that the shepherd don't just protect them from wolves, but the wolves that's among the sheep? That's disguised in that sheep. So that's just my feeling. You better, I hired one of the guys that does the Word Network edit my show. He gets a little stipend every week for editing our service now. Our focus have shifted now. And Bishop, you've been ahead of the curve. You've been doing radio and stuff for years. So this shouldn't be hard for you.
Actually, Bishop, I enjoy it. I did share with some pastors not long ago that preaching in an empty room is not a problem for me. I was talking behind a microphone in a studio, so it wasn't a problem. But I've got to tell you, even when I came to social media, started doing Bible class, it was because of a millennial in my congregation, a minister that said, hey, you need to start doing this. And I said, but I don't see other, and I don't really see a whole lot of other pastors doing it or whatever. I'm glad that I listened. I'm glad that they had the foresight, because I did not, the foresight to say, do this. So when all of this hit, our church had been accustomed to being online and doing things online. We were not totally there like we are now, but the transition was not as difficult. But if I had said, well, you don't know what you're talking about, you young, I mean, come on now, you nothing but a kid, I would have missed a valuable lesson that I should have learned. And now I would have been saying, see, I should have listened. I thank God that I did, because she was ahead of that. And I would have totally 100% missed it, because we weren't raised with that. We were taught you go to the house and you spend your time at the house. Well, now I'm learning that they may not click on live, but they'll shoot a message and say, hey, I saw it at 2:00 in the morning. I think that the church is better. And I know that might be a little bad to confess, but I think it's better in the context that people are now able to get it 24/7 anywhere at any time, for individuals who would have never visited your ministry, would have never been able to. Now, even before our service, I'm able to drop in on at least 15 or 20 services, getting a bit of the word and getting some of the music. Would have never been able to do that. So that's insightful. I do want to ask this, and then Elder Carlton, I'm done. For pastors who are learning media, because you mentioned, hey, you need to get a media team or media persons or invest in cameras. What would you suggest that they do? Someone who has had no experience and now they're just turning on Facebook and sitting in front of their phone. What would you suggest that they do?
And that's okay to start off with, but when I first got stuck in the house before they brought these cameras and these lights, this phone that you're looking at right here, this is the iPhone 11 Max. Put it on a stand, turned it backwards to me, and they put me live all over the world through Skype on here.
Wow.
Nobody knew it. It looked just as good as most cameras. Most cameras that you see, because it has the three the 3 cameras on it. So that'll work.
Right.
Don't do it this way. Turn it backwards and put it on a stand to you, and you will get a better picture. Look at that picture.
Mm-hmm.
Look how
Wow.
clear it is. That's
Gotcha.
clearer than it is facing you this way. And so start where you are. Then, if you got 3 people, if you got 3 people that got 3 of these phones, you can link them together. You can link them together. It's called Switcher.
Mm-hmm.
Switcher you do from your iPad or one of your other phones. So you got a phone, I got a phone, he got a phone, and then somebody is taking the iPad and they're switching between the cameras. And they're putting the information on here. Okay? That's what we subscribe to Switcher. You don't need a camera. You don't need any cameras. You're using your phones. Make sure your phones is upgraded and good quality. Then if you want to stream, there are streaming services called Restream and Ustream, which give the appearance of your service being live because it says live. You replaying your service and just putting it up on Facebook, it doesn't alert people that you've gone live. But when you go live, Restream makes it seem like you're live and it alerts the people that you're there. So those are just some cheap things. Each one of those, I think, is like $40, $50 a month. Those services to link your cameras together and the Restream, that's the next level. But if you just need to sit on a couch and teach, the first couple of weeks for my service, I sat here in my living room on a stool and taught the first couple of lessons until we pivoted to the studio. So my praise team goes in and do their piece. You know, it's according to what you want to invest. We have taken our church, not Bishop and y'all, Brother Honey. We are 3 years old and we just moved into a building in January. We had been in Southeastern for almost 2 years. We moved in a building in January. Then the pandemic hits when? February, March.
Yeah.
So we haven't had service in our building since then, but we took the service off and now we're serving. So ever since Easter Sunday, we've been giving out food every Saturday from 12 to 2. We gave out 1,000 boxes of food every Saturday. Now, I had prophesied to my people that we were going to become a distribution center. And so we probably need 300 to 400 boxes for the people in our area, but we've been giving out boxes to other churches like Mount Zion on Mack and Van Dyke and Superintendent Bumbry, and others, Pastor Nina Fry and others that just, because I knew what it was when we started, we just took money out of our pocket and did it. So now we've gone from service in the building to serving on the parking lot. Cars are lined up. And so we'll end at the end of August and then we'll start doing it maybe once or twice a month. But yeah, that's kind of, you need to just, and then you can go into getting some Canon cameras and link those together and get a switching board. There's all kind of stuff. So you either need StreamYard or you need Zoom on your computer. I have them all. I have StreamYard, I have Cisco, I have Zoom on my computer, all those in case I need to be at any kind of meeting. I use StreamYard a lot. It's a little more user-friendly than Zoom, and it's cheaper than Zoom. Don't y'all cut me off.
Right.
So those are just some things that you could do.
Yeah. Man, Bishop, thank you so much. I mean, I really enjoyed this conversation.
That's great.
And I really salute you for just even spending some time with us, having this conversation on today. A true pioneer in the Detroit area, a true pioneer in the gospel. I really appreciate you for this coming, even just talking with us on today. Let me ask you this, because something we had a man cave conversation yesterday. I have a few pastors, and we were just talking, sharing multiple generations, talking about things. Next following week, we're talking about this Man Up. What is the definition of manning up? Because as a Black man, we were taught, me primarily was taught that, and you can't share a tear, you can't cry, you can't show no type of emotion. But now we're in a time where we can't bottle up a lot of emotions, because now we seeing the Black men being teared down mentally more than now than ever. The Pew Research has suggests that over 7 million people right now, currently males, are suffering some type of mental illness. And there is 5 million between the ages of 40, no, between the ages of 40 to 69 is still suffering from PTSD. How do you feel about that? And what would you address to young Black men, young Black preachers uh, dealing with their mental health?
I think right through now, everybody's dealing with a little mental.
Yeah.
One of the things that I always start off an interview, no matter who I'm talking to, I always ask them, and it's something that we don't do. I ask them how they doing, like what kind, all of us have had, I call it moments.
Yeah.
And I've had moments right upstairs. I remember my first moment. I just laid out on the bed and just boo-hooed. It's not any less manly when you have a moment. It is your human side. Because this is a lot, especially for preachers.
Yeah.
Whether you're male or female, we're working harder. This is what people don't understand. We're working harder than we did before the pandemic. You know, trying to keep people together, trying to remember all of your people and stay in communication with them. You wake up in the middle of the night, oh my God, I forgot to check on mother so-and-so. You know, you got to become creative in these times to gather the people together. And then you got to worry about if you got a building, you got to pay for a building that you ain't having church in, you know, and then you got to still maintain everything else. We got added expenses, but thank God for the people of God that are standing by their pastors. And especially, Brother Honey, you know, the thing about sheep were never created to take care of the shepherd. The shepherd was created to take care of the sheep. So you have to pastor people that sometimes will not even ask you how you're doing. You have to pastor people that won't even check on you and say, hey, you need something to eat? Can I get you a meal? Can I, you know, you all right over there? Can I go pick something up for you? Can I go, you know, and that's the reality of it. No matter how strong you are, I tell people, y'all check on your strong friends.
Yeah.
It's not your weak friends. It's your strong friends that's pouring out and always giving back and always making sure everybody else all right. Those the ones that you need to check on. And don't be afraid to make sure when you think of somebody, call them, because you don't know what they're dealing with. I preached a message for a whole month about I Can't Breathe, and it dealt with being alone in the cave, like Elijah. It talked about the dark place, how the cave was a dark place, and Elijah was left alone in the wilderness, and Elijah was on the run from what a word that Jezebel had given. We got to guard our ear gate to what we hear. And those of you that are watching, if you want to hear that, it's on my podcast. It's 4-part series, on about 30 to 35 minutes, but it deals with the dark. I can't breathe. You know, when we heard George Floyd say, I can't breathe, it's because the police officer had his neck on his, had his knee on his neck. And police officers were trained in the academy. It's a fact. I researched it, that just because a person say they can't breathe, if they talking, they think they can breathe. That's the way they've been trained. But the fact is, I could be talking and can't breathe. I could be talking and be depressed. I could be talking and thinking about committing suicide. I could be talking and be lonely. The difference in lonely and alone is when I'm alone, I allow my emotions to tell me I'm lonely. You only become lonely. Alone and lonely is not the same thing. Alone is one thing, but when I begin to allow my emotions telling me, look at you, you here all by yourself. You ain't got nobody. How in the world you ain't got nobody at this time? The enemy start talking to you and you be like, I'm lonely. I can be alone, but I don't have to be lonely. It's only until my emotions start talking to my consciousness and my mind and say, look at you. Look at the shape you're in. You're in the middle, So yeah, we need to check on our strong friends, because just because they're strong, it don't mean that they're doing all right.
Right.
I mean, Michelle Obama, who got access to anything, she said in an interview, in a podcast, that she's had moments because she can't hug.
Wow.
She can't touch. There's a man that committed suicide who was worth $600 million. And he jumped from the 27th floor of a California apartment. You know why? Because he is isolated from being a socialite, what he was used to. We can't touch people now. We can't hug people that we love. Can't even worship together. Like, are you afraid that you're going to get something? So we're in different times. Charles Dickens says these are the worst of times and the best of times.
Yeah.
We're being blessed in the midst of a pandemic. We're prospering, but it's still the worst of times. It's the tale of two cities.
Yeah.
And we have to check on our strong, anointed, preaching friends that's having moments.
Wow. You're absolutely correct. And
that's good.
Everyone who is watching, just take that note right there. Text someone right now, pick up your phone, just check on it. Just say, hey, just checking on you. Just want to, just praying for you. I'm bless you today. Just send a message to those who are strong, who've been uplifting you, who've been pouring into you. Go pour out to your leader. Just go check on them, him or she. Go check upon them right now. This is something that is needed for everyone. I thank you so much, Bishop, for those nuggets, those gems you just dropped on today. And thank you so much, Bishop Scott, my bishop.
Bless you.
I love my bishop. I don't know where I'd be without my bishop. But thank you so much, Bishop, for just sharing this platform. And as we continue to uplift everyone in this season on Encouragement Tuesday, you can, Bishop, let them know your information, where they can follow you at on Instagram and
on all platforms is at Bishop Greg Davis. It's, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram at Bishop Greg Davis. Greg Davis Show YouTube, Greg Davis Show on YouTube, or When the Right One Comes, because I do relationship stuff too. Those are the platforms that you can follow me, and every day at 1 o'clock on the Word Network.
Right. And did you mention the podcast?
It is on everything. iHeartMedia, on Podbean, on Apple, on Android, Google Play. You can even tell Alexa, play Greg Davis on TuneIn Radio. So yeah, it's Greg Davis Podcast.
Yes. Everyone, if you get the chance to get the opportunity, go ahead right now while you're being in quarantine, some places where you can't go. Listen to Bishop Craig Davis podcast. I'm telling you, will be a blessing unto you. Again, you can follow him on Instagram at his name, Craig Davis. You can follow Bishop. Bishop, let us know where you at, Bishop Scott.
Well, it's Dr. Dora Scott. I'm on all platforms. I call it my country church, Periscope and Facebook and Twitter and all of those things. It's Dr. Dora Scott. Bless you so much. And I want to say thank you to Bishop Greg Davis for sharing just a wealth of information, taking out time from your busy schedule, and the investment that you are making in future generations. Thank you.
Thank you. You know, I love you. We've been running around here for years. I appreciate you.
Likewise.
Anointed woman of God. And keep on doing what you're doing, young man. I appreciate you inviting me, and keep honoring your bishop. God's going to take you far for honoring and including her.
Yeah. Thank you so much. I receive it, Bishop. I receive it. For everyone on Facebook, thank you so much for tuning in. Again, catch us on the replay. is on Bishop Craig Davis' page, is on Bishop Dora Scott's page, and you can also follow it on the Congress of Servants page. We're getting ready for our annual conference this year. It's going to be held through Zoom virtual conference. We got Pastor Jay and Ashley Patrick will be teaching in our service sessions this year. Go look on the Eventbrite and get that information and go register. I guarantee you they are going to pour in, and possibly, and also as well, Elder Mark Moore will be teaching a leadership class as well. So go register right now as we get ready for this Congress of Servants session in October. So God bless everyone. Thank you so much again, Bishop, and both bless you again.
Bless you.
Enjoy you. Till next time, everyone. Have a blessed night.
Bless you. Good night.
Bye-bye.